Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to get the accurate measurements, the perfect guidelines, all that you necessarily need to know when it comes to making that perfect fitted turtle neckline. If this is something you're interested in, you definitely want to stick around. To my new subscribers, thank you for joining us. To the OGs, the existing subscribers, you guys know I love you so much. Thank you for sticking by me. Do well to turn on your notification bell so you get notified when I post new videos like this. Alright, let's get right into the video. So on here you can see that I have the basic bodice measurement all marked out and drawn. So for those of you who have not seen the previous video, I already made a tutorial video on how the dress was made, but I said in there that I would be posting another video just so that I do not rush things over. I did not want to make all of them together at once. That is why I'm making a separate video showing you how to make this perfect turtle neckline. Okay, so I would leave the link of the dress tutorial in the description box so you can watch that as well and make your perfect dress. Okay, so all I'm just going to do here is show you how I came about the round neck measurement. Any other thing for the basic bodice you would find in the other video. Okay, so one thing you should know is that when making a turtleneck dress or top, anything that has to do with a turtleneck, the standard 3x3 round neck measurement is not going to fit at all. It is going to gape, it is going to look slaggy, it just doesn't work. Okay, so what I like to do and how I make my perfect turtle neckline is I divide my round bust measurement by 12. It gives you the accurate measurement. You can see here that I got 2.5. So imagine I had gone ahead to use 3 inches by 3 inches. You can just imagine how much excess would be around the person's neck. Okay, you can just imagine what the outfit would look like. So this is how I like to go about getting the round neck measurement. Okay, so this is the neck width. Now for the neck depth, you might decide to do 2.5 by 2.5, or you can decide to do 2.5 by 2 inches, depending on how small or how fleshy your client's neck is. So for me, I'm going to be using 2.5 by 2.5 inches. All right, and then afterwards, I'm going to mark that out and proceed to draw out the round neck using my pattern curve. Now for the back, we're going to still maintain the neck width of 2.5 inches, but for the neck depth, I'm going to be using 0.75 inch. You can use 1 inch, you can even use 0.5 inch. That was why I said earlier that it depends on how small or fleshy your client's neck is. You should be able to use your eyes to gauge some of these things, all right? But please do not go above 1 inch for your neck depth. Okay, for the back neckline, do not go above 1 inch. All right, so I'm going to be using 0.75 inch like I said, and this was just accurate, this was just perfect. So after I mark that, I'm going to go ahead to connect it using the pattern curve, and then we can now proceed to cutting out the actual collar that we would be attaching to the dress. Now to the collar part, you can see that I have this small piece of paper which I would be using to draft out the collar before proceeding to cut out on the main fabric. What I'm going to do now is draw a straight line at the bottom part of the paper and then proceed to mark the midpoint. So I'm going to place my tape from one end of the paper to the other end, see what I have, and that divided by 2 is going to give me the midpoint. midpoint of this paper. And then I'll proceed to label the front towards the left side and the back towards the right side, which is the F and the B that you see. F is for front, B is for back. Now I'm going to take the dress, and what I'm going to do now is take the measurement for the front. I'm going to place the tape on the shoulder. So I'm going to take the measurement from the shoulder to the center front, just as you can see me do, and I have about 4.5. So I'm going to place that on the pattern paper from the midpoint towards the axis where I had labeled F, which is the front, and I'm going to mark that. I'm going to repeat the same process for the back, also from the shoulder down to the zipper allowance. Now mind you, my zip is going to get to the turtle neckline. It's going to go all the way up. If yours is not going to get there, maybe it's going to have a hook and eye or a button, you should already have attached your zipper at this point on your dress or blouse, whatever it is you're making, and then you just take your tape, place it on the shoulder to where the zipper stops. All right, but for me, I'm going to take mine from the shoulder to the end of the zipper allowance because the zip is going all the way up. And whatever I have as well, I'm going to place it from the midpoint towards the right axis where I had labeled B, which is the back. Now that we're done with that, on the part labeled F, which is the front, where we had marked what we got from the shoulder to the center front, we're going to go upwards on that point by 0.5 inch. And for the back, we're going to go upwards on that point as well by 1/4 inch, which is 0.25 inch. Afterwards, I'm going to use my pattern curve to connect each point to the midpoint. Okay, so we're going to be having a very curved line, sort of a boat-like line. I think that's the perfect description. Okay, so you can see you're going to connect the front to the midpoint and the back to the midpoint. I'm so sorry about my camera placement. I really did not know up until I was done recording. Now it's time to determine the width of the collar. So from the curve that I just drew, I am going to mark 1.5 inch upwards for the front and the back. You can make it wider or even lesser than 1.5 inch. Okay, next I'm going to use my ruler to connect the points. I'm going to slant my ruler a bit, just as you can see, because I don't want a straight line. So not too straight, not too slant. That's what we're going for. And then I'm going to use my pattern curve to connect the upper part. Next, I'm going to label with arrows identifying the up and the down part, and also the front and the back on the main collar, because we're going to be cutting off the straight line. So this is all for the drafting of the collar. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut it out. Here is the fabric that I'll be using to cut out the collar. I'm going to go ahead now to fold it into 4 and place the pattern paper on it, holding it down with pins. Okay, when you place this down to cut out on your main fabric, make sure that the front is facing the folded edge, and then when you're cutting out, you're going to leave allowances to which you would use to join the collar to the dress. Okay, so I left 1/2 inch on the upper part and the lower part, and also on the side. I'm done cutting. I just went ahead to make a notch at the upper part, and this is what we have here. So the excess that you see towards the part labeled B is the zipper allowance. I didn't add the zipper allowance while we were drafting on the pattern paper, so I made sure to add it while cutting out. So what we're going to do now is head over to the sewing machine and sew the upper part and the sides. Okay, we're not going to sew the bottom, just the sides and the upper part with the 1/2 inch sewing allowance that we kept. So I'm going to go ahead to do that now and come back to show you what next to do. This is what it looks like after I was done stitching it down and ironing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin first all around one part of the band, and we're going to use the other part to cover up and make a top stitch, giving our collar a clean and neat finish. All right, so just watch how I go about the pinning process. just take one part of the band, pin it from one end of the neckline to the other end, head over to the sewing machine and stitch down with 1/2 inch. So I've gone ahead to make the first stitch on the collar, and this is what we have here. Now the next thing we're going to do is take the other part of the collar, fold it inwards with about 1/4 inch, enough to cover up the previous stitch and any rough edge that would be having around the neckline. Okay, in case you didn't get what I just said, this is just the same method as placing a band on a skirt. Okay, so just watch closely at what I am doing. I made sure that I was able to give a clear visual representation of what I was talking about, and while you're doing all of this, you can as well hold it down with your pin if you feel like you would not be able to do it directly on the machine. All right, and when you are stitching, stitch very close to the end of the fold. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and take your time, take it one step at a time, and try to use a thread that is almost or the same color as your fabric. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to do that and come back to show you the final result. So this is what I had after I was done stitching, and you can see that it looks neat both on the inside and on the outside. I also went ahead to finish up attaching my zipper. Remember I said earlier that the zipper was going to get to the neckline, so if yours is going to have maybe a button or a hook and eye, you definitely know that your zipper is not going to get to this point, so you can go ahead and finish up. All right, so this brings us to the end of today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed every bit of it because I enjoyed giving out this knowledge. Please do well to like, share, comment and subscribe. Please, as you're watching this video, just click on the like button. It won't cost you anything. All right, the more you like, the more my videos are being put out there for other people to see. Share it so your friends can come and join this wonderful family. There is a lot to learn here, and I'm sure you would definitely agree with me on this. And once again, if you have any questions, please do well to always leave them in the comment section, and I will be more than happy to give answers to your questions, to help you out where you're confused and whatnot. All right, thank you so much once again for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.